Winning cures everything.
Here are your hosts,
Gary and Chris.
Welcome in, Winning Cures Everything, number 111. This is the Tuesday, August 15th edition of the show. I'm Gary.
And I'm Chris.
On today's show, we are welcoming in nobody.
Not a damn person.
Seriously, not one guest for the first show since, if you don't count our pre-recorded episodes when I was back in San Francisco, over 6 weeks ago. No worries, though. We're going to have Chris Felica with us on Friday's show, or at least scheduled. We'll double-check his schedule and whatnot. But today we're discussing the Barstool Sports versus Outkick the Coverage feud, the CBSSports.com article where coaches anonymously ranked the most overrated and underrated coaches in college football, and we give our picks on that as well. We jump into the Zeke Elliott argument, and we end with the Tuesday Trifecta. We hit on sex robots, always a fun topic, Florida suspending 7 players, and the latest on Mayweather and McGregor. Before we do anything else, though, let's do the rundown so you guys know how to contact us. Check out the website, winningcureseverything.com. We have got stories galore up right now. I was able to talk back and forth online with Tom Mars, Houston Nuts attorney. Talked to him, got a lot of really good information out of that. So go check that out. I think that'll be the last that we talk about Ole Miss on this episode. We may talk some more on Friday's show, depending on what happens this week. But give us a like on Facebook, facebook.com/winningcureseverything. All of our news stories go up there first, so check that thing out. You can follow us on Twitter, @WinningCures. You can also follow myself, @GaryWCE.
You can follow me at Chris B. Giannini, ChrisBGiannini.
You can also email the show. That is winningcureseverything@gmail.com. You can download, subscribe to, and review the podcast. We are on all your favorite podcast apps. That includes iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, Google Play, and everything else that is in any of the app stores. iTunes, Google Play, whatever. Yeah, whatever your app store is, whatever your podcast app is, we're on it. I promise. Check it out. We are also doing a thing. We're going to keep this thing rolling, but we've already hit our... we wanted 25 reviews, and once we hit 25 reviews, we were going to donate to St. Jude. Well, we already did that. We donated to St. Jude on Monday morning, and now we're going to donate $25 to Le Bonheur the next 25 reviews we get. So once we hit 50, once we hit 50, we will donate $25 to Le Bonheur, and then the next 25 will go to St. Jude, next 25 to Le Bonheur, et cetera, et cetera. So anything that we are bringing in on this podcast, we are giving it back out. We want to have fun with this. This is not a job for us. We're having fun. We're putting it back out there. St. Jude, Le Bonheur, give us a review. Once you hit the reviews, we're putting it back out. You can also hear us on Local X, localxradio.com, or your Local X app on your smartphone, Tuesdays and Fridays at 9 a.m. Chris, I am putting in my application to be the Memphis Grizzlies' new PA announcer for the home games inside FedEx Forum this year.
I love it.
You think it's a good idea?
I love it. I do. I absolutely do.
Now, I figured we could start off today's show with me trying to do some readings, all right? Are you good with this?
Yeah, no. Fire away, brother.
All right, look, it's going to be a little bit loud.
A little practice makes perfect.
All right, so let's start out with a simple phrase, all right? You ready?
Yep.
Here's the starting lineup for your Memphis Grizzlies.
All right.
All right. It's all right. I got some work to do.
I like it.
All right, now I'm going to try a couple of names that Grizzlies fans are okay with this. All right, they're sure to hear it this year, so let's just go on and do it, all right?
Okay.
Mike Conley.
Okay.
All right, how about this one? Mark Gasol.
I like it.
All right, I see the Gasol one I got down.
That's a good,
all right.
Get deep.
Next one up, let's do Chandler Parsons.
Yeah, you won't be saying that a lot.
I didn't figure. I mean, what's a good nickname for him? Like for Mark, I can do like Big Spain.
I like it.
I think I'm a shoo-in.
I think you're going to do really well, to be honest.
I think I got
really,
this.
really do. So I don't know the talent in Memphis that's coming out for it, but I like your chances.
Ain't nobody got them skills like me, man.
Yeah, you got good pipes.
That's I enjoy the growl that Mike Conley.
Well, so little advice from your boy: don't try to sound like the other guy. Just be the best Gary you can be.
Well, that's the thing.
You've got a great voice.
I got a deep
Yes.
like also high voice. It's like a weird mix.
You can do Barry if you want to do Barry.
I mean, I could get way down.
You can get
I could
low.
get down.
And so
low.
I think that's good for you. I think that bodes really well for you.
All right, look, let's move on from that. Last week, Clay Travis from Outkick the Coverage jumped on the Barstool Sports radio show on Sirius XM. And honestly, he got, what do they call it on that show? He got body bagged.
Yeah,
is that right?
It didn't go well.
All right, now I feel like this little feud between them might be a little bit set up. And I don't know. I think Dave Portnoy actually does not like Clay. I think he doesn't like him. I think the other guys at Barstool, like Big Cat, PFT Commenter, KFC, et cetera, I think that they're fine. I think they're all right with Clay. I think Clay likes and respects all of them. I love both of the. I love Barstool Sports. I love Outkick the Coverage. I like them for different reasons.
Two totally different things.
Yes.
They're two completely different stations.
Right. It's two different outlets. They're going for different crowds.
Yeah. One is strictly a humor thing.
Yeah, they're fighting, claiming that they're going for the same crowd, and I don't think that's right at all.
No, I don't either.
All right, look, you're a fan of both of these.
I love them both.
Let's do some likes and dislikes.
I like one of them. I really like the other one.
All right,
it's okay.
Let's start out with Outkick. I'm going to guess that's the one that you don't like as much.
Not as much. All
right, now look, here's some positives. I like Outkick. Clay is knowledgeable. He's a lawyer. He keeps me interested in political conversations about sports, really. And he goes at things from a different point of view than other media outlets. I like that.
I'll agree with that, and it's one of the things I like most about him.
Yeah.
Is he sees things from a different perspective than what we normally get.
Yes. And he's from Nashville. He's been writing about the SEC for what, like 15 years, maybe longer?
For a long time.
He focuses on SEC football and gambling, kind of like we do.
That's it.
He's very cocky. And for whatever reason, that's appealing. Like, I like listening to him do that, It
has its terms where it turns him off.
Okay, there are times. Here's some negatives. Basically, like, one of the reasons that I like him is another reason I can't listen to him some morning. There's so many political topics.
That's it.
And sometimes I don't want to hear about it. It can be good and bad. Like, I'm sure it'll change once we get into football season.
I disagree.
But, man, he talks about Colin Kaepernick.
More than anybody else. And he complains that everybody always talks about Colin.
He bashes the liberal outlets for supporting him so much. But, like, they don't talk about Kaepernick nearly as much as he does.
And it's not just the Colin. That's like been his thing.
No, it's everything. It's LeBron James. It's like
when he gets on something, he's like a dog on a bone, man. Just let it go. Because you make really good points. You make me think, and then you just don't shut up about it. Now I'm so turned off about what you made me think about that I don't care what your opinion is.
Exactly.
You lost me. You had an audience, and then you lost it.
Now let's talk about Barstool.
All right,
here's some pros. They don't really focus on sports, which is good. It's basically average male frat boy talk, and honestly, that can be pretty entertaining. Topics are random as hell. They're a lot of fun.
They are a humor site. They don't claim to. They
like it says Barstool Sports,
but they were founded as a humor sports site. But that's what they are. They don't do anything that's serious. It's all joking all the time.
Like the pizza reviews are awesome. Like those are hilarious. They've got like 40 billion. All right, so here Portnoy hires in great personalities.
Yep.
Like, they don't care what people think about them. They get amazing guests on the regular. Like, they are just fun. And they're all good at talking, which is, it's difficult to find that sometimes.
No, it's not easy. It's not easy to do.
So, all right, let's talk about some negatives then.
Okay.
There's like 4 billion different podcasts. Like, there's videos all over the place. They do like 100 different stories a day. Which is, and I get it because it's just like little it's quick blips.
It's okay.
And it's tough to keep up with everything. Like, that's the difference with Clay. He releases a few stories a week, and I can keep up with him.
But let me ask you this. I love that because there's something for everybody. There's about 4 things that I listen to from Barstools, and then everything else I could let go by the wayside. I don't care about.
And you at least check it out once.
You don't have to listen to all of that. But it's different stroke for different folks.
Exactly. It's not that it's not great content. It's a lot to keep up with. So, like,
if you're trying to keep up with everything they do.
Right. And if you're not, then that's cool. It'd be like trying to keep up with everything. Like, this is a smaller version of, like, Fox Sports or ESPN, right? So ESPN's got all this different crap out. Mm-hmm. Barstool is the same thing, only from a humor sports aspect.
That's it.
So, because they've got, like I said, like 4 billion different podcasts, all this, and it's all funny, and it's all good stuff, and I want to listen to all of it, and I don't have time to listen to all of it.
I guess that's my thing is I don't. Like, during hockey season, I'll listen to Spit and Chicklets, but, like, I'm never going to listen to their basketball coverage because I just don't care.
Yeah.
I'm never going to listen to their golf coverage because I just don't care. Like, I like golf, but I only like golf from the context of listening to it from a competitive, informative side.
Right.
Not a humor side. Same thing with the NBA. Like, it's not that into me where I want to be surrounded by it all the time.
Right. I'm not going to understand that.
So you take what you get.
Right.
I love Podfathers. I'm a young dad, and I feel like that is my wheelhouse.
Yeah, no, I love that. I love that.
They're talking to me.
Yeah,
and
they don't release that like every day.
No, it's once a week,
which is good. And so that one I can keep up with. Now the other part is the guys can come across a little bit too. What's the word? School ground bullyish, I guess.
High school.
Yeah, they gang up on guests they don't like. They don't get in good arguments. They just kind of resort to name calling and bashing. It's kind of ludicrous to listen to sometimes.
It gets hard to listen to, but the one thing I appreciate is they own it.
Yeah.
Like, after this fight with Clay, the first thing they did was, after that, they all started talking about how KFC and Portnoy and another guy used to, back in the old school days when they first started and they were doing it all through Skype, used to get in these arguments and they would just yell, and you don't stop yelling until the other guy stops yelling. It doesn't matter what you're yelling about. And KFC was talking about how, I just wanted to take a breath and I didn't even know what I was saying anymore, but Portnoy was still screaming, so I couldn't stop screaming until he was done. So they understand. They were like, I guess that's why I have an appreciation for them, is they get that they are the butt of their own jokes sometimes.
Yeah.
Clay seems to take himself serious a lot, and when he jokes, it just doesn't ever seem to come off very well.
Well, I think that Clay was jumping in there expecting some kind of an actual discussion about the article that he was bashing.
But why
that's
would
why
he think he would get that? I guess
knows?
Therein lies my problem is, why
especially on their show.
Why do you think you're going to get that?
That's it. See, it doesn't make any sense to me.
I like Clay. I like what he does, but that's not his lane. He's not the joking, goofy, cut-up guy like those guys are. You walk into that den, you're going to get eaten.
Yes, I agree with that.
And
it didn't make
bad
sense.
For him.
But like I've told you before, I think his big thing is there's no such thing as bad publicity. So it doesn't matter if he gets killed on there. Like, his name is still all over Barstool, right? And even though they're trashing him and calling him a loser and all this stuff, he is still getting some of their followers. Dave, for a while, when he first started his radio show about a year ago, Big Cat came on and talked to him on the radio show, and it was an awesome conversation. Yeah. And then Portnoy banned all of his employees from coming on Clay's show. Same thing ESPN did. Yeah. And now that sucks because I like them in Clay's format because they can actually talk, and I like what these guys have to say more than just the normal bullcrap, right? But why Clay would go in there expecting that, I have no idea.
Yeah, I don't either. I'm not sure, but I don't think it was a good look for him. I don't know how it got him more hits or better ratings or anything like that, other than if people are going to listen just so they can make fun of him online later. And then the problem is growing an audience that way doesn't last.
Correct.
Those guys are going to come in, they're going to troll you, which is what Dave Portnoy told them to do, and then they're going to leave. And they're going to go back to doing all the things that they were doing. And
unless they hear something that they like on the show, in which case, then you've got more people. I guess
that opportunity happens.
Yeah, so that's still there.
But I think they're two totally different things. Clay is obviously a sports talk guy. He controls everything.
And he focuses on politics and sports, right?
But the negative with Clay is the same thing that I like about Barstool, in you get one tone from Clay. You get Clay's voice. You get what comes from Clay's brain, and that's it. And sometimes you want to hear the other side of the argument. And Clay always says, well, I'm smart enough to make both sides. But we don't want to hear you make both sides of the argument.
I want to hear somebody else discuss.
And the reason is because I can make anything sound, if I'm arguing both sides of it, I get to immediately pick the side that I want to win.
Yes. Agreed.
And I want somebody else that has skin in the game on that side to be arguing that point.
Yeah.
And he doesn't allow that, and those other guys have no problem bringing in people that disagree with them, and they just hash things out all the time.
Yeah.
But it's got to be on a humor level, not on a serious level.
Because if you start getting serious...
No, they're just going to roast you.
Yeah, they're
going
to
get you out and then never invite you back.
Exactly. So there you have it. That's our assessment of Outkick the Coverage versus Barstool. I'm sure Dave Portnoy and Clay Travis are going to be pleased with our critique of their platforms. Like, I'm sure they give a crap what two dudes from Memphis think, right?
I'm quite certain they won't even hear about it.
All right, let's knock out some ads right quick. Today's show is being brought to you by Kyle Seegers Designs. If you need great, affordable web design for your company, business, or just personally, check out kyleseegers.com. He can handle all of your web development needs, including site building, maintenance, branding, and more. For more information, visit Kyle Seegers Designs at kyleseegers.com. Coming up next on Winning Cures Everything with Gary and Chris, we are going over the overrated and underrated college coaches. That's coming up next. Winning Cures Everything on Local X. This is Gary Seegers from Winning Cures Everything, and I know you're looking for new gear for college football season. If that's the case, check out the new online store at winningcureseverything.com. We've got new WCE shirts in all sizes with all your favorite SEC colors. Just click on the store tab at winningcureseverything.com. You're listening to Winning Cures Everything with Gary and Chris on Local X Radio. All right, like we said, we are jumping into overrated and underrated. Last week, Dennis Dodd, Barrett Salee, and Chip Patterson over at CBSSports.com interviewed 1/5 of the 130 coaches in Division I college football and allowed them to answer these questions anonymously. Who are the most overrated and underrated coaches in college football? Now, Chris, the answers were as ridiculous as you might think. Jim Harbaugh was most overrated with 13%. Nick Saban was tied for second at 9%, with Lane Kiffin and Lovie Smith. Brian Kelly, Tom Herman, and Will Muschamp were all tied for, third with 4%? The most underrated was Bill Snyder at 24%. Chris Peterson got 15%. David Cutcliffe and Ken Niumatalolo. Did I say it right that time?
I think you said that really, really well.
Navy's coach, tied for third with 10%.
That's right.
These percentages make no sense. No,
well,
look. They said they interviewed 1/5 of 130 coaches in Division I. That's 26 coaches. For Harbaugh, 13% of 26 is 3.38.
So almost 4 people.
Yeah, so like 3 and not even a half of a person.
I don't know how that works.
So
somebody said maybe.
I mean, you're telling me 3.38 coaches voted him overrated? Saban was 9%. That's 2.24 coaches.
So
like,
ridiculous.
Just tell us the stupid numbers.
Yeah.
It's anonymous anyway.
Yeah, I was
just
about to say.
Look, it was overrated, so Nick Saban was voted overrated by 2 people.
Yeah.
Like, just say that.
Just say that.
Like, you don't have to go into split. And if it's...
And then lie and say,
and if
said
you
it was
said,
anonymous, but these 2 sons of bitches said it.
Like, if they said about 1/5,
yeah.
then that would... Then, it could be 27, 28, 24, 20, whatever. But, like, even still, I looked at all those other numbers just trying to figure out the math. None of those equaled out to that either.
Yeah,
So, like, how could Harbaugh have 13% and then Chris Peterson at underrated is 15%?
Yeah.
There's 2% difference.
That's what I'm saying. Like, a half a person said one thing.
Like a third of a person.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Like, none of that crap makes any sense. Anyway, all right, so we figured that even though this whole thing is stupid, if nothing else, it's a chance for us to give out our opinions on who is overrated and who is underrated.
I like it.
So, you and I, we discussed a little bit, not much, before we got in here. So, let's go ahead and start off. I'll let you start this one. Who is your most overrated college football coach?
Oh, my most overrated college football coach was on their list. His name is Brian Kelly. I think Brian Kelly is a great, useless, worthless piece of crap. I think he might be one of the worst people I've ever watched on TV.
Just an overall person. He's just a terrible person.
All right, so let's just go last year. All right, just what happened recently. You're at University of Notre Dame. You have an unbelievable recruiting class. You have it year after year. You have the prestige of being the Catholic institution in the country. You have the history to go along with it. You
Where's
have the Heisman trophies, you have the national championships, and you win 4 football games. Now, in a season where your schedule is not real difficult already, you get to play the Naval Academy and the Army. You get to play the military academies. Can't consistently beat them. Okay, that's pretty sad and pathetic. And that's not a knock on them. Their job is to protect our country, not play football, not be good at football. You get Michigan State and Texas on the year that they're both the worst that they've been in over a decade, and you can't beat them.
Yeah.
Like, you're just bad. And then I guess what makes me so mad is not that he loses ball games, because it happens. Teams go through slumps, and they just happen. It's that he takes zero personal accountability for any of it. He blamed other coaches that he hired, but somehow it's not his fault. He blamed players, but he recruited them, and he's the one that's responsible for coaching them up.
Yeah.
But none of this was ever his fault. And I just want to know when the Board of Trustees at Notre Dame, when the athletic department is going to say, you are going to take personal responsibility and you are going to get the hell out of here. And
look, here's their problem.
Allow you to be over our students ever again.
They signed him to this stupid long contract.
Pissed away money on other. Look, dude.
Yeah, but they're still paying Charlie Weiss.
I'm about to say they signed those deals to Charlie too. I don't care, man.
Yeah.
When you can't take personal responsibility for the losses and you're blaming openly other coaches and your players for the losses, and you're not standing with your feet in the fire.
Well, on top of that, the Deshon Kizer thing this year, where he was very adamant about, like, this kid shouldn't have gone. Yeah. He shouldn't have gone to the NFL. He wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I mean, I can understand where, like, yeah, I get it. You probably really don't think he's ready yet, but you got to support your players in whatever decision.
I agree with that to an extent. That's the least of his discretions to me.
No, I'm with you. I'm throwing wood on the fire here.
Yeah, but no, he's if you think he's a great coach, you haven't been paying attention, and you were part of the problem.
I don't think he's a great coach. I think, like, I can understand him being overrated. I think he's a pretty good coach. He's won everywhere he's been, and
other than here.
Well, no, he's won at Notre Dame. Like, he had him in a national championship game.
He did take him to a national championship.
And, like, nobody was beating Alabama that year. No, other than Johnny Manziel.
But that season, man, everything just kind of went their way.
Yeah, but that's what happens. All right, so look, I understand Kelly, right? Especially after last year. But you realize Notre Dame, even going 4-8 last year, they finished number 26 in the S&P last year, which is insane. Like, it's the highest ranking for a losing team, like, in the last 50 years at least. It's just and look, of their 8 losses, 7 of them were by 1 possession. All right, so 4 of them were a field goal or less, and 3 of them were by a touchdown. Like, I think they're going to be worlds better this year.
But all of those games that they lost to a really bad Texas team. They lost to a really bad Michigan State team. They lost to a good Navy team.
I'm not going to say that Texas was really bad.
They lost to Army for the first time in decades. What are we doing?
Yeah.
What are we talking about?
They lost to NC State by a touchdown in, like, the Hurricane game.
NC State was respectable.
Yeah.
These other
Army was respectable. Army beat Navy.
Okay.
Army
beat Navy.
No, I mean, Army
all.
looked a lot better last year.
That's right. Than they normally do.
Yeah.
Michigan State looked worse than they've ever looked in the history of that program.
Stanford beat them and didn't even score a touchdown. Like, it didn't even score an offensive point.
Yes.
Yeah.
They were bad, and this is not just this year. Brian Kelly's overrated. He's overpaid. He needs to be fired out of a cannon, dropped off a plane, kicked out of there. I come from a long family of Italian Catholics. They all should be ashamed of themselves until he's gone. He's got to get gone.
All right, so I'm going to go with Mike Riley at Nebraska.
Okay.
And I don't think that the media necessarily overrates him. I think administrations overrate him. And I haven't figured this out yet. So his overall records, right? So he's 108-91 in college. He's 14-34 in the NFL, 40-32 in the CFL, and 11-9 in the World League, whatever, WLAF.
Yeah.
Like, do any of those stand out to you?
No, not really.
Not really. So here's the
He's
deal.
a little bit better than 500 at all of them.
So in the CFL, he went 40-32.
Okay.
In the WLAF, he went, let's see, he was 4-6 his first year, and then 7-3 his second year.
I don't even know what that
Look,
is.
I don't either.
I don't know.
World League of American Football, or so, I don't know what it was. It's something ridiculous. So here's the reason why I'm overrating him, or why I'm saying he's overrated. He coached at Oregon State. He got the job in 1997. He went 3-8. Then he went 5-6 in 1998. After going 5-6 in 1998, he got hired by the San Diego Chargers, and he took the Chargers to an 8-8 record in his first year, 1999. 2000, he went 1-15. And then he went 5-11 in 2001. He subsequently got fired, spent a year off from football, and then I believe after Dennis Erickson left Oregon State, he went back and took over Oregon State. Went 8-5, 7-5, 5-6, 10-4, 9-4, 9-4, 8-5, 5-7, 3-9, 9-4, 7-6, 5-7. He went 5-7 his last year at Oregon State, and then gets picked up by Nebraska. What?
I don't get it.
Like, and I don't. None of it makes any sense to me.
No,
He went 6-7 in Nebraska.
I mean, he did win 10 games at Oregon State that 1 year.
1 year,
But
2006. A year after he went 5-6.
He went a couple of 9-4 seasons after that. So I guess they were looking at that 3-year stretch.
Like
but
10-4, 9-4, 9-4, but then he went 8-5, 5-7,
and then
3-9,
nosediving.
then 9-4, then 7-6, 5-7. Like whenever he has a senior laden team, it feels like he does pretty good.
Yeah, but every 4 years.
And that'll play into my second one. Who've you got for your second overrated?
My second overrated coach it's going into his second season, so it's kind of hard to argue this, but I think I'm absolutely right, and maybe in a couple of years I'll be proven wrong, but I doubt it. It's Kirby Smart. He was hired.
How can you say somebody's overrated?
Because people are picking him to win the East in his second year.
That's true, but that's because of where he is.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Everyone talks about how he was such a great hire. He was so great that they didn't even interview anybody else. They just went out and got Kirby, and he was like their first choice and their only choice.
Yeah.
I'm never a fan of hiring the guy that coaches on the same side of the ball that the head coach is a genius on that side of the ball. Okay? I've made this clear. I never want Saban's defensive coordinators.
Well, I mean, you do if you're like Memphis, right?
Okay, yeah, because you're hoping they learn something from Saban and they can bring that
But
here.
Georgia is not a job for a first-time head coach.
If you're
anymore.
a non-Power 5 school, or if you're a Vanderbilt or a smaller tier school, then maybe you can do that.
Yeah.
But Georgia should be competing on a
Georgia's one of those where you go and make somebody tell you no.
Yes, it's a premier job in the SEC, and he got hired off the merits of his head coach Nick Saban, and the talent that was surrounding him was unbelievable.
Yeah,
and also the talent that's going to surround him at Georgia is going to be unbelievable. So he's going to.
He's had 2 top 5 classes already, hasn't he?
So he's going to win a lot of games at Georgia.
Yeah,
it doesn't mean he's a great coach there. If you put better coaches in those positions, Georgia will be doing way more with them, and I think we'll see that in the years to come.
Well, remember, part of this is like recruiting, and Kirby is obviously really good at recruiting. Like part of it, it's not just the X's and O's; it's also the Jimmies and Joes.
Got to come into it.
I do agree with that, and I think
that's why the Jimmies and the Joes is going to keep him. An 8-win season, a 9-win season, but at some point in time, Mark Richt showed us that don't float the boat.
I agree.
In these big programs.
All right, my second most overrated, and this is not another it's not a big time program again. Mm-hmm. Mike McIntyre at Colorado. Now everybody talked about him jumping jobs after this last season, right? Do you know he is 35-52 overall in 7 seasons as a head coach? He's had 2 winning seasons. Now, he went 10-2 with the senior-laden San Jose State squad in his 3rd and final year there in 2012. Last year's Colorado team went 10-4 with another senior-laden squad. And all of it was built on defense. In both cases, it did not hurt that the rest of the conference was insanely down anyway. And people have been talking about him for huge jobs. Like, they wanted him taken over, God knows where, Oregon. They wanted him at Texas or whatever the hell. This is his resume. He went 1-12 in his first year at San Jose State. Went 5-7 and then 10-2. And that looks pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, I'm with you. He was building. At Colorado, he went 4-8, 2-10, 4-9, 10-4. Do you think they're going 10-4 again?
No.
You think they're getting anywhere close to 10-4?
Is 6-6 close to 10-4?
I don't even know if they're getting to 6-6. They lost everybody off that defense, and that defense won games. Like, that's all it was. And now, of course, the defensive coordinator's gone. Like, he's up at Oregon with Willie Taggart.
Yeah, it's going to hurt.
So, yeah, I don't think that he is as good as everybody makes him out to be. But, you know, obviously we'll see. All right, let me start off with our underrated. And I may have stolen yours. I'm not sure.
You did. We both had the same number one guy. But go ahead. Tell the story.
My number one most underrated coach is Mike Leach. Leach has been at two of the worst situations you could possibly be at in the Power 5, and that's Texas Tech and Washington State. He has found a way to win everywhere he goes. No, he doesn't win every year, but it's almost impossible at these places to win every year. He was at Texas Tech for 10 seasons. He never had a losing season at Texas Tech.
Unbelievable.
Now, there were a lot of them that, 7-6 and whatnot, but there were years where he won 10, 11 ball. He went 11-1 one year at Texas Tech. Now, he was in the national title hunt with Texas freaking Tech. Nobody wants to play in Lubbock, Texas.
Nope.
Like, that is insane to me. So at Washington State, he took over a program that was 12-49 in the 5 seasons before he got there. That's like an average of 3-9, 2-10 roundabout. Every year, like, they were going 1-11 some years. I mean, they were atrocious. And they were the worst team in the Pac-12. It wasn't even close. He went 3-9, 6-7 in his second year. They lost in a bowl game. So he went 6-6, basically. He went 3-9 again, and that was due to injuries. And now he's gone 9-4 and 8-5 in the last 2 seasons. He has completely rebuilt that program in Pullman. And he's entertaining as hell. Like,
yes.
If you're not following him on Twitter, you got to go follow that. Well, he is awesome.
That's the next thing, is he's just so great.
Mm-hmm.
So, not only does he win everywhere he goes, but he's unbelievable.
Yes.
So, my first overrated guy.
Underrated.
Sorry. Underrated guy is Pat Fitzgerald. I talked about him a little bit the other day when we had
John
McComb.
Yeah.
On
Lacombe.
Sorry.
WestslidePirates.com. Check
That's
them out.
right. Those guys are awesome. Man, I've liked Fitzgerald for a long time. I don't know why. I've always kind of followed the smart kid schools just to see how they do competitively throughout the country and keep up with their coaches and stuff. And man, several years ago when he got there, he started turning that program around.
Yeah.
And
they're not going to be able to win every year.
But what I liked about him was he was continuously getting them more competitive and more successful every year in one of the best conferences in the country. And, the one year he had a couple years ago when it looked like they were the best team in the country or in that conference other than Ohio State, the rest of the conference was so bad, and everyone kind of pointed it off to that. But then the conference got really good, and they were just as competitive. He's never going to have the talent that everybody else in that conference.
Well, the academics are higher than everywhere else.
It's going to make it almost impossible for him to keep them on top. He also doesn't have the coaching budgets. That's something huge that nobody ever talks about.
Well, I think his new facilities are going to help out a lot.
Well, they're going to help, but he's just now getting them.
Yeah,
it's
still a couple of years away.
That's right. We can't even judge him based on that now.
Do you think he's a lifer? Is he going to be there forever? I mean, who? I think other schools have tried to hire him away, but I think he's. So everybody thought
I would
Peterson.
love to see him be a lifer.
Everybody thought Peterson was a lifer at Boise State.
Ooh, 2 different stories.
But it's a completely different story.
Because he's actually in a Power 5 school.
Yeah.
Boise,
and he doesn't have the expectations.
No. Well, Boise's always going to get left out of the conversation as soon as they have one loss. So you have to go undefeated. That is a lose-lose situation.
And even if you go undefeated, you ain't getting in the playoff now.
You're still not getting in the playoff. And so I think Peterson had to leave if he wanted to really say, can I win a national championship?
Yeah.
He had no choice. And I don't think that Northwestern, this is no knock on Northwestern, I don't know that they're competing for national championships ever. But the fact that they're in the conversation for the Big Ten is a big step for them.
Yeah.
And I think that takes a special coach to do it because he doesn't have help from these great, super high-paid coordinators or unbelievable abilities to recruit because academics are so high and Chicago's not as cool as the West Coast or the South.
True.
It's just not.
It's not a great situation, but he makes a lot out of it. So I like Fitzgerald. My number 2 most underrated, I've got Mike Gundy. Now, I promise you, I said nobody wants to play in Lubbock. Nobody wants to play football in Stillwater, Oklahoma either. And Gundy always does well. He's got T. Boone Pickens as a booster. I get that. But those two hadn't always gotten along. And Gundy has always found ways to win. Like, this guy has won 10 games in 5 of the last seasons and was one missed field goal away from playing for the national championship in 2011. Like, that is just remarkable to me. Oklahoma State is not supposed to be competing for Big 12 championships every year, and yet here they are every year. He consistently exceeds expectations in Stillwater, and that floors me. He's from Oklahoma State. He's an alum, so that's home to him. That explains why he hadn't taken another job yet. He's also getting paid fat, like they are paying him well. But man, Oklahoma State has never been this, and he made that program. So Gundy is my number 2. Who's your number 2 most underrated?
It got deleted off my notes. So it's one of 2 people that I made a 5-man list. I'm going to give it to Gary Patterson.
Okay.
At TCU. And a lot of people would say, well, he's not underrated. Man, he's not the popular coach. He's not the famous coach, and he's not who you think of when you're thinking of great coaches in college football.
Yeah.
He's not on that Mount Rushmore, but I think he belongs there. I absolutely think he's one of the best coaches in the sport. He is in a hotbed for recruiting in Dallas, but he's still at a small private school. He's not going to be able to recruit like Tennessee, like Texas, like A&M, like LSU, like Alabama. He's never going to have those recruiting classes.
No.
Ever.
And yet he's always competitive.
And usually I'm going to err on the side of academics here, the coaches that can compete. And I'm not saying TCU is the level of Northwestern. I have no idea what their academics are like, so I'm not knocking them either. But I know that he doesn't get put up there with the Jim Harbaughs and the Chip Kellys and when you're throwing out, these great coach names, but I think he belongs.
I think he does too. All right. Coming up next on Winning Cures Everything with Gary and Chris, we are going to throw our hat in the Zeke Elliott argument. He was suspended for 6 games. We're going to figure out if that was right or wrong. Coming up next, Winning Cures Everything with Lex. This is Gary Seegers, your co-host and owner of Winning Cures Everything, the best sports blog and podcast in the South. There are a ton of ways that you can connect with us. First, check out the website, winningcureseverything.com. Second, give us a like on Facebook, facebook.com/winningcureseverything. Third, follow us on Twitter, @winningcures, or myself, @PersevereGary, or @ChrisB. Four, email the show, winningcureseverything@gmail.com. Fifth, download, subscribe to, and review the podcast. You can find us on iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, Google Play, and all of your favorite podcast apps. We'll have new shows up every Tuesday and Friday morning along with different articles throughout the week. Remember, winningcureseverything.com. Welcome back. This is Winning Cures Everything with Gary and Chris on the home of the best pure hard rock, Local X. All right, Chris, last week, Zeke Elliott was suspended for 6 games by Roger Goodell and his NFL goons. And there are opinions all over the board. Some people are saying if he hit a woman, he deserves this and more. Some are saying there were no charges brought against him. Why does the NFL get to decide? Now, look, the NFL set up with their collective bargaining agreement. To me, it is the same way the NCAA works in college football. You and I have been talking about this regularly because of this Ole Miss stuff, right? Like, it doesn't matter about a court of law.
That's right.
Like, it is what they want. The NFL does what they want.
They answer to
period.
No one.
What they want. They don't have to have the same kind of proof as our criminal justice system. Now, I do think it's a little overboard, to suspend him 6 games. I think 6 might have been crazy, especially when there's no proof, or there is proof that the girl was trying to sabotage his career. like mainly because he broke up with her. She tried to get her friends to lie to the police about it to make him look bad. Like, I get it. The NFL is trying to show a hard stance against domestic violence. But that's what makes these cases so difficult, right? Like, a girl can literally claim something with no proof, and guys can be immediately viewed guilty before anything ever comes out about it. And the same thing happened, all right, you remember the kicker at USC? So that whole story with the Title IX stuff, right? Somebody else saw him and her roughing around playfully. They reported it to the authorities. The kid was kicked out of USC, even though the girl told them that he has never hit her and he never would. Like, they're still together. They are fighting a legal battle to get him back in school. He's the one that kicked the damn field goal to win the Rose Bowl. And they kicked him out of school because somebody saw him playing around, like, pushing each other, whatever. And they saw that and immediately, like, just kicked him out of school.
Yeah. Like,
he's out. What can be going on here with Zeke? Like, looking at the circumstances, I think he can win the appeal or at least get it shortened. The problem is Goodell has complete power, right? So he doesn't have to do anything. So he may not be able to win just based on that. So you've paid attention. What do you think?
So there's a couple of layers here. So I heard one of the ESPN writers, man, I don't know if it's the guy that wrote the article. I'm going to quote him. I'm not going to quote him. I'm going to tell you who I read. He doesn't talk about this, Todd Archer. And I don't know if that was him I heard or if it was another guy talking about it. But somebody wrote an ESPN article. Todd Archer wrote the article originally Friday, breaking all this stuff down, giving you a lot of information into it. But I heard one of them talking about the NFL is not going to find themselves in another Ray Rice situation.
Right.
And what they did was this time the NFL went deep. And they went to the place this supposedly happened. They got surveillance video. They got cell phone pictures from other people. While we know the girl was trying to sabotage it, it doesn't mean nothing happened. It just means she was trying to make sure she maximized the punishment, which is awful on her part. But if she was the victim of something and she wanted to see his life ruined, then
it makes sense.
Then it makes sense. And this individual said the NFL has made it clear they have evidence that they have seen physically with their eyes that says something happened. Now, they're not telling what happened, and they feel 6 games is justified based on what they see, and they refuse to be caught in another Ray Rice situation by saying, oh, well, let's just do 1 or 2 games, and then this video evidence that they've seen get leaked out, then they look like fools.
Was the Greg Hardy thing, was that when he got his suspension reduced from 10 to 6, was that before Ray Rice or after?
That was after.
That was after Ray Rice.
After Ray Rice.
So, but they had it. He got it reduced from 10 to 6.
There was no evidence, and the reason that they did, there was no physical evidence in that case, and the plaintiff, the woman that was beaten, disappeared.
In this case, she's still claiming.
And they feel, the NFL feels in their investigation that they have substantial evidence. They think the police had it, but have chose to do nothing with it. And it helps. So this is the other layer to it, okay? When you find that the woman is trying to make it worse than it is, it makes all of her evidence in the court of law disproved and discredited, disbarred, whatever.
But in the NFL, they ain't getting caught again.
Yeah, well, that's it. Like, just because she had all her evidence thrown out because she tried to fabricate something doesn't mean she tried to fabricate it all. Okay. And so if that's the case, then I'm sadly, because I've never done this, I'm going to stand behind the NFL, because if they're saying we saw something that none of you have seen, but that doesn't mean that you won't see it one day. But if we hit him on the wrist and then you one day see it, you're going to do exactly what you did with Ray Rice. You're going to kill us.
And everybody will freak out.
You're going to absolutely kill us. And so we're going to hit him hard. And here's the.
Do you think that there is a chance that he will get it shortened to 4 games?
That's the next layer. Why I don't think he will is he has not once acted contrite about it or forgiving. Everybody that's gotten a suspension forgiven has gone to Goodell and said, I'm sorry, I'll go through this therapy, I'll go through this, I'll do that, I'll take these steps.
And instead he's out pulling,
and he is saying,
he knocked out somebody and he pulled a girl's top down at a St. Patrick's Day party.
And so you've got those layers to it, okay? You've got all those things to be taken into effect. And then the last thing that I think is really big to the NFL is all of his arguments that he's going to make in the appeal. They've openly said, we've listened to his attorneys. We've been in communication with his attorneys throughout this entire investigation. They don't have any new information or new arguments. So if they're just going to walk into the appeal and say, the exact same thing they said in their defense originally, then it doesn't help you. An appeal means you have to bring something new to the table. You can't. This is what we've come to understand. Oh, well, they're going to hit you with 6, and if you appeal it, it'll get dropped down to 4 or 3. Excuse me. Just because you appealed it. No, you have to bring something new to the appeal. You don't just get to walk into the appeal and say, you changed your mind yet? No? Okay. You have to give him something else to think about. Now, let's say this. I hate Roger Goodell. I think he's a worthless piece of shit.
I was about to say, this is a weird stance for you.
No,
you're a Tom Brady guy. There was no proof with Tom Brady.
None at all. None at all. But and there was not a lot of proof about the Bounty Gate stuff that happened to all those defensive players. All right, there was proof that it happened, but it was something that was so widely done throughout the NFL. Same thing with doctoring footballs, by the way. So widely done with the NFL. You can't single one team out. You have to do what old Paul Tagliabue used to do, which is pick up the phone, get all 32 owners on the phone, and say, knock this crap off.
Yeah.
Stop it, or I'm going to come down.
Don't make it a public display.
Don't cripple one of your franchises.
Yeah.
And Goodell has done that. Now, I love the fact that Jerry Jones has been Goodell's little whipping boy, just dancing. Ooh, he's doing a great job. We love Roger. I support everything he does. He's a sorry piece of shit, and I hope he dies. Like what happened, Jerry? What happened? He hurt one of your players, and now you're upset.
And now you're freaking out about it.
But if you would have looked at Tom's situation, you don't play the Patriots. You're not a rival with them. You would have only seen them in the Super Bowl. Why would you not have seen something wrong is happening here and not stood up then? Because maybe then you would have some credit in
they goofed up by allowing this in the collective bargaining, if that's what they want.
Yeah. Well, so we've always said that you and I have talked about this multiple times, and other people have written about it ad nauseum, in the sense that these players wanted in the collective bargaining agreement more money and less practice time.
Yeah.
And they got it. And what they gave up was power and control. And I've said this 1,000 times. Anybody that'll trade power for money is an absolute fool, and you let them have it.
Yep.
You let them have it.
I hope it was worth it.
Well, they're a bunch of dum-dums.
You get that right. Now, moving off of that, staying on Zeke, though, is it possible with him being gone for 6 games, can that cost the Cowboys a playoff spot?
I didn't think they were going to make the playoffs this year anyway.
Really?
Even
with
this
Zeke?
Conversation.
I
thought before all this, I was on record, they will be closer to 3-13 than 13-3. Now that was with Zeke. I just think that what they did last year was pretty remarkable. I think sophomore slumps are real. Yeah. I think the league at the end of the season caught up to Dak. And that's not a knock on Dak. They catch up to everybody. You have to change your game. And
I also think, they weren't
I don't think
really.
Garrett has ever.
They had already wrapped up home field by the last 2 games.
It doesn't matter. Okay. Anyway, I don't think Jason Garrett has ever made major adjustments.
I agree.
To make his team better when they face adversity personnel-wise like this.
Yeah.
I think that's going to cripple them.
Yeah, I agree. All right, moving off that, we're going to stay on the NFL. Now, I know that it is just preseason. I get that. You and I texted about this on Sunday. The scores from this weekend were just weird. Like, literally, all the worst teams beat the better teams in preseason this weekend. Now, there were some. normal, like, Seattle beat the Chargers 48-17 or whatever. But, if you look back at all of these scores. Here, let me give you the rundown on that, okay?
Yeah, run it down.
So, Carolina beat Houston 27-17.
That's nothing weird.
Minnesota beat Buffalo 17-10. That's whatever. The Dolphins beat the Falcons 23-20.
Yeah.
Jacksonville 31. The Patriots 24.
Mm-hmm.
Baltimore and Washington were basically the same team last year. Baltimore won 23-3. The fact that Baltimore put up 23 points is pretty remarkable. Denver beat Chicago. No big deal. This one though, the Brownies beat the Saints 20-14.
Yeah.
Green Bay beat Philadelphia 24-9. Not a big deal. Cincy beat Tampa Bay 23-12. The 49ers beat Kansas City 27-17.
Mm-hmm.
The Jets beat the Titans 7-3. 7-3. That was
7-3.
And I watched the damn game.
Preseason game.
It was awful. The Rams beat Dallas 13-10. Not super surprising. Arizona beat Oakland 20-10. Detroit over Indy 24-10. I mean, it just these are just some.
You got all the bad ones. The Rams beating the Cowboys, the Dolphins beating the Falcons, the Jaguars beating the Patriots, the Saints losing to the Browns, the 49ers beating the Chiefs, and the Titans losing to the Jets. All of those are what we think is bizarro world in football.
Yes.
Even in preseason.
Yes, I agree. Now, look, I talked about Deshaun Watson.
Yep.
He looked great. All that good stuff. Trubisky
Look good.
looked really good. Here's what I want to figure out. Deshon Kizer looked great.
He did.
Now let's stick on him. What do you think about your Brownies? Is he going to start opening weekend?
He might. I don't know. I mean, this is game 1 of preseason where the starters play one series.
Right.
So it's really hard to evaluate.
But who's going to be starting if he's not?
Well,
Brock Osweiler?
They've already said Osweiler's a starter right now. So let me paint this picture for you for that game and what he did. I'm not going to knock him, but I am going to put it in proper perspective. Okay, the Saints, who had the worst defense in the last 3 years in the NFL, every year, he went up against their second and third and fourth string defenses.
Which means they got to be pretty bad.
So
and he still only got.
That puts into perspective what he did. Now, it's not, look, you can only beat the people you play. So
Right.
He didn't have an opportunity to play anybody else. We will see. But I'm not going to draw any major conclusions. I will tell you this. I've been on record to say they wasted that pick. Not for any reason other than this. If he doesn't show you that he's the second coming of Cam Newton, you have to draft a quarterback next year, which means you wasted a pick on him. Because next year's quarterback class is worlds better than this year's quarterback class was. And what can he show you this year? What is his? This is what I've asked my Browns friends. What record do they have to have? What does he have to look like this year for you to say he's our guy going forward? We don't need to draft quarterback. And then if you
does he have to make the playoffs, or is it just the playoffs, or does it have to go further than that?
There's no way on earth they can make the playoffs.
So you got to make the Pro Bowl
roster. There's no way. That's just not. These are not even realistic possibilities. But I mean, you're shooting the moon out there at them, and they don't have the talent for that. What I'm trying to figure out is they wasted the pick for the simple reason that you cannot evaluate him well enough to risk the future of the franchise not taking the quarterback next year, who's going to have a much better pedigree, a much better record in college, all of the stats that you need to show that you can play the quarterback position.
Okay. I mean, I'm with you. I understand where you're coming from.
I just think the logic was we suck at receiver. We suck at a lot of other areas of this football team.
So why are you wasting?
Why would we have not have taken a receiver in the second round or a secondary guy? Somewhere where we're hurting, another linebacker, get something. Don't just say, well, we need to address the quarterback position. Let's take him.
Yeah.
When you got to be playing, I've said this, you got to be playing chess, not checkers. They saw, we need to address the quarterback situation. We're going to make this jump here. When if they were playing chess, they would see next year we make those jumps. And let's just sit back this year.
Yeah, I'm with you. I'm with you. All right, moving on. Let's do some ads right quick, and when we come back, we're jumping into a new segment. You ready for that?
Ready.
New segment, Tuesday Trifecta. It's gonna be a lot of fun.
Excited.
Coming up next, Winning Cures Everything on Local X. This is Gary, host of Winning Cures Everything. If you're looking for affordable custom web design, business cards, brochures, and more, check out Kyle Seeger's Designs at kyleseegers.com. Kyle offers full website design, monthly site maintenance, and content management system training. Remember, for all your web design needs, check out kyleseegers.com. That's KYLESEGARS.com. Welcome back. Winning Cures Everything with Gary and Chris on Local X Radio. It is now time for a new segment called the Tuesday Trifecta. That's brought to you by Builder's Choice. They are the best and most cost-effective in flooring, specializing in hardwood, carpet, and tile, For all your flooring needs in the Memphis area, give them a call at 901-602-6576. That's Builder's Choice for all your flooring needs in the Memphis area. All right, now, the Tuesday Trifecta, we're going to do things a little bit differently. It's kind of like the Friday Five. We're just going to toss out a bunch of random topics. Sometimes it'll be sports-related, sometimes it won't. The first one that I've got to get to you, there are sex robots being made to look like customers' dead wives. Have you seen this story?
You sent it to me, and I just saw it. like literally 3 minutes ago.
So the guy that is doing this,
I have a lot of questions.
He explained that for many people, the social aspects of owning a sex bot are more important than the physical side. He said 80% of the involvement is social, meaning the interaction, which is a bit mundane and conversational. Like, who in the hell is having a conversation with a sex robot? You kidding me? These things come with like lingerie on. Like, come on. He said maybe 10 to 20% is the actual physical engagement with the robot from a sexual perspective.
Only 10 to 20%.
Most of the customers are just people looking for companionship, a loving touch, and a warm embrace.
A warm embrace?
Give me a freaking break. Are you kidding me?
A warm embrace.
That's it. Now, you and I, like, we've been discussing this for a little bit now. Mm-hmm. So, like, how would the wives take it if they're still alive and you got one that looked like them?
Yeah, well, that was my first question. Was what if you got like, hey man, I've never had a threesome, but I've always been into like the twins thing.
That was not what I was thinking.
What would happen? What would happen?
I'm looking at it from this, like, when you get married, it, like, everybody's got too much crap to do, right?
Okay.
So you're not, your sex life is not nearly as active as it was when you were a single man. Generally.
Yep.
Like, it depends on who you marry, I guess.
Okay.
But from, everybody laughs about this. Comedians talk about it all the time.
That's right.
Your sex life, sex life goes down the older you get because everybody's got too much shit to do, right?
That's right.
So, for me, like, it would make sense. Like, okay, well, you don't want me going out and banging other broads, so I could just bang the robot version of you.
That's right.
I don't think they would appreciate that.
I don't know how that would go in my house. I'm not real sure. I'm not real sure if that would go over very well.
So this guy said, all right, as a result of the demand for loving sex robots, the bot's name is Roxy, and Roxy's more mature and matronly personality setting has proven a hit with many customers. Douglas says that when Roxy is in this mode, she loves nothing more than a cuddle, with sex temporarily taking a backseat.
That's exactly what men want. Take a survey of everything men want. Cuddling is really far down.
Hey, but it's not just for men. The fully customizable bot, which sells at $9,995, is so lifelike she can even orgasm, and is sold alongside a male version called Rocky, which I'm sure that my drummer is going to appreciate that. All right. My drummer's name is Rocky, for those that don't know. But, True Companion makes sure their bots are as lifelike as possible with the help of an expert team used to making... Wait, hold on. I misread that. Oh, used to making inanimate body doubles for films. Like, this is... I don't even...
What kind of films?
I cannot imagine.
Like Warner Brothers?
I guess. This was reported in the Sun, over in London. Mm-hmm. But this is an American company.
Awesome. Made in the good old US of A.
So you had a question earlier that was like, if you died... If
I died and my wife got one, well, what's a two-part question? So I'm a large man. We all know this. Like, I know that when I go buy pants, I pay a lot more for pants. And I understand why. Than most people pay for pants, because it takes a lot more material to cover my big ass. So would they charge my wife like a premium if she wanted one my size?
Like, would it cost more than about 10 G's?
Yeah, because we got a lot more material to make your husband. And then the other thing is,
that's a good question.
Are they gonna make sure that it takes care of her the way I have physically over these years?
Well, I mean, I guess that they'd have to get your dimensions.
Yeah,
they'd have to get your girth correct,
baby. If this is a road you go down on, I'm never going to judge. Just make it a little more generous than what the good Lord has made me. Do yourself a favor.
Oh my God. So yeah,
This is awesome.
I'm jumping off of this. This
is amazing.
It's entertaining to say the least. All right, so number 2, Florida has suspended 7 players for the Michigan game. That's the opening game.
Okay.
The players are, I had the list up. Hold on. Here we go. All right, the players are Antonio Callaway.
Starter.
Star. Linebackers James Houston and Ventrell Miller. From what I understand, both starters.
Mm-hmm.
Offensive lineman Kadeem Telfort. Defensive lineman Kevonis Davis. Jordan Smith. And Richard Desir Jones.
Okay. Go through what they got suspended for.
That's a lot of depth. That's so that's going to be hurting.
Yes.
Like that's not good. That's line players. That's linebackers. Secondary. Not a good thing when you're going up against Michigan. I don't guess we really know that, do we? We don't know anything about Michigan this year.
That's right.
So they were suspended. McElwain did not come out and elaborate on this, right? He didn't give the reason, but ESPN reported it. The players used their school-issued IDs to make improper charges at the bookstore and then sold those items for cash.
Yep.
And the suspensions are basically for misusing school-issued funds.
And then they all 7, reported their IDs to be stolen. And so somebody else did it, not them. Somebody else bought all that stuff.
I
so
did
the
not.
funds would get on there. Yes. So that's part of the story as well.
Okay.
So this is where I had...
This happened to Alabama in Saban's first year.
Yes, I remember that.
That's
the
it.
bookstore deal. I remember all this.
Same thing.
So here was my first thought. And this is why I went down in Alabama wrong. If I come up with a scam like this, I could probably get away with it.
Yeah.
It sounds plausible. It absolutely could. It could totally happen.
Probably wouldn't happen for 7 people.
For 7 guys to do it, y'all are so dumb.
Yeah,
you know you're getting caught.
Yeah, it's just dumb.
You absolutely know you're getting caught.
Move off of that. Is this a built-in excuse if they lose?
Oh, hell yeah.
Like, I think so. I think McElwain knows this team isn't winning a national championship this year. So go ahead and sit these guys for major rules violations, get the discipline out of the way in a game that really doesn't matter.
Nope.
Like, especially not in the SEC race.
And that way, if you get beat on national TV by a non-conference power, then
it doesn't matter because we had 7 guys out.
Yeah, you get to say, well, that's why we lost that game.
Yeah.
And then this NCAA committee gets to sit in a room and say, well, if that's their only big loss, then maybe they should be ranked higher.
I don't know about all that.
I'm not a fan. And I also think that they should be suspended for more than a game.
Yeah, I agree with that.
This is major. This would be a level 1 violation.
Major infraction.
Major infraction. So just because you self-report it doesn't mean it didn't happen.
Yeah, Alabama players were suspended not only for that Tennessee game, which they won. Like, they blew Tennessee out that game. But I mean, they were gone for several games.
Yeah, missed a lot of games.
Saban and them, they were 6-2 after that, and ended the year 6-6. Yeah. Like, it really hurt because it was a lot of key pieces.
That's the biggest thing. It's even if you're not a starter, it's depth.
Yes, big time. In a game like that, it matters. All right, number 3 in the Tuesday Trifecta, brought to you by, who was it brought to you by?
Builder's Choice Flooring. Great Memphis flooring company.
Absolutely. McGregor and Mayweather is getting closer. Like, it's a week and a half or so?
2 weeks?
Saturday, August 26th.
Yeah.
So, like, a week and a half. So, not this coming weekend, but the weekend after. The two went on this crazy press tour. McGregor had all the press crap come out about his sparring sessions before Paulie Malignaggi quit his team. Or Malignaggi, sorry. Malignaggi is now saying he whooped McGregor. McGregor's team is saying that Paulie was getting blasted by Conor. That's not what I want to talk about, though. Last week, Mayweather sat down with Stephen A. Smith and started talking about how much he's lost a step and how, on paper, McGregor should be the favorite in this fight. Like, is this the most ridiculous crap that you've ever heard in your life?
This is the equivalency to one of the greatest sports Ponzi schemes of all time.
Mayweather used to be the king of trash talk, and he's resorted to this. Like, did McGregor just out trash talk Mayweather? Like, is this another way for him to...
no, I think...
This is Mayweather trying to sell the fight, saying, look, it ain't going to be as easy for me as you think.
Yeah.
And it's almost like a built-in thing if he loses.
Well, he's not going to lose.
I don't think he is either.
They're trying to make it so... You have who's one of the greatest, if not the greatest, tactician fighters of all time, going up against a guy that's 0-0.
Yeah.
In boxing. And I don't want to hear that he used to box in Ireland. Everybody used to box in Ireland. You go to a bar, you get drunk, and you hit somebody. It's what happens.
Yes.
Like that doesn't make you a professional. I don't understand how it's possible at all for McGregor to walk off the street because he's a fighter in other ways and just do this.
Yeah, I agree. All right, now tell me this. What's the deal with the seats not being sold? Like, why doesn't anybody want to go to this fight?
I think there are a lot of people that believe this is a Ponzi. I told you I wanted nothing to do with this when it first started because I bought into Pacquiao and I watched it with my eyes and I saw it was a complete sham.
Yeah.
And I think people have gotten smarter.
They think that Mayweather is scheming.
This is a complete scam by both of these guys and Dana White.
Yeah, I can believe it. I mean, it's a lot of money. It's going to sell a lot. Like, it doesn't matter. Everybody can know, and they're still going to buy the fight.
That's right.
Like, but they'd rather buy the fight at home as opposed to going out to Vegas for it.
Going to Vegas, and because I mean, you're spending $90 or $100 at home. Vegas, you're looking at thousands of dollars.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's it. It'll be a crazy weekend. I'll tell you that. Like, Vegas is going to be nuts.
I'm just not a fan of this. I don't like what's happening.
Yeah, I'm with you
because I think it's openly fixed, and nobody will unless Conor knocks him out. I think it's openly fixed. If it looks exactly like the Pacquiao fight, which means they both dance around, they tap each other 4 or 5 times throughout the 12 rounds, and then they hug it out at the end, I'm not going to be convinced that this was not all set in motion time and time again. And in any other sport, you do that, people get arrested.
Yeah, but not in this one. It's basically wrestling. It's WWE.
Yes, the difference is millions and millions of dollars, billions of dollars probably will be bet on this.
Oh yeah, I mean
that's where I have a problem.
It's already bigger than
if it was
any
just
Super Bowl
entertainment,
ever.
It's different.
Yeah, but a lot of people are putting money down on this.
And on one of the podcasts Chris Felica does on what's
Behind the
Bets. I listened to
Chad Millman.
Chad Millman have one of the guys on from Vegas that runs a sports book out there, and he was talking about how much money's coming in on Conor, and he said people will walk up and they won't know nothing about betting on boxing, and they'll just lay money down and say, if I bet this $200, I want Floyd to win. What do I win? And they was like, $40. And they were like, huh? Well, if I bet it on Conor, what do I win? You mean like $800? Oh, let me bet it on Conor then. And they'll change their mind just because of that.
Yeah.
Right there. Because they don't really know what they're doing.
And then they're planning on that money being gone anyway.
And so the books, everybody's in on it, and everybody's just openly stealing from the public. That's what I have a problem with.
Yeah, I can understand. But I mean, if the public is dumb enough to go along with it, then roll with it. Should we get somebody on to talk about that next week? Or should we actually get some real boxing guys in here for Canelo and Triple G?
I would rather talk Canelo. I would rather listen to them talk Canelo and Triple G. I wouldn't be able to talk very intelligently about it, but I would.
We might get Antonio Castro from Phil Steele's publication.
I would
and maybe Mike Glenn. He's a former boxing promoter here in Memphis.
Yeah, I would rather hear people talk about a real boxing event than this sham. But this sham is going to get a ton of ears. I know it's something we've got to talk about. That's fine. I'm doing my fantasy football draft that night, and every guy that I'm in the league with is making me pay for it. So they're going to, in turn, pay for it. I'm not paying for it. I promised no nickels of mine would go towards it.
Yep.
My credit card will be on it, but I will refund all of that. I just don't have any interest in it because I think, now I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope
it's interesting.
I would love to wake up Sunday morning and Mayweather just be cold knocked out. And Conor just doing his little cock walk dance all over the place. That would make me happier than anything in the world.
On Friday's show, we need to talk about whether or not that's going to be good for UFC.
Oh, that would be unbelievable for UFC.
Yeah, but would Conor keep doing UFC? I mean,
yeah, I think he would go back.
I think he's still under contract.
But I think their numbers would go through the roof.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what I think would happen.
Absolutely. All right, that's going to wrap up today's show. This is Winning Cures Everything, number 111, the Tuesday, August 15th edition of the show. Go check out the website, winningcureseverything.com. We got a bunch of stories up about the Ole Miss mess. I got to talk with Thomas Mars through the internet on, this weekend, both Friday and Saturday. So I talked to him. He emailed me some answers and whatnot to some questions that I had. Go check that out. We got the question and answer up. That's winningcureseverything.com. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/winningcureseverything. You can follow us there. Give us a like. All the stories go up there first. You can follow us on Twitter at winningcures. You can also follow myself at Gary WCE.
You can follow me at Chris B. Giannini, ChrisBgiannini.
You can email the show, winningcureseverything@gmail.com. You can download, subscribe to, and review the podcast. iTunes, Stitcher, TuneIn, SoundCloud, Google Play, all your favorite podcast apps. And we're doing a thing where if you review the show, once we reach certain numbers, we will be donating to Le Bonheur and St. Jude. So we reached 27 reviews. That's over the 25 that we had requested. Once we hit 25, we were donating $25 to St. Jude. We have already done that. We did that on Monday. Once we get to 50, we're donating another $25 to Le Bonheur. Once we get to 75, another $25 to St. Jude. So go and review the podcast on iTunes. This is only for iTunes. So I want you to review on everything, but iTunes is the biggie. You can also listen to the show on Local X, localxradio.com, or the Local X app on your smartphone every Tuesday and Friday at 9 a.m. Chris, the first show without a guest in about 6 weeks, and I had a lot of fun today.
I think we did well.
I think we did okay.
I don't know that I feel comfortable with anybody else talking about sex robots with me but you.
I think I might agree with that. I wouldn't want anybody else in on that discussion. Nobody else in on that discussion. All right, so for Chris Giannini, I am Gary Seegers. Until next week. No, until Friday.
Friday. We'll be back Friday. See you guys.
Hey, this is Gary Seegers, host of The Stage View. Make sure and tune in to Local X's first morning sports show, Winning Cures Everything, with myself and Chris Giannini every Tuesday and Friday at 9 a.m. Check out the site and grab the podcasts at winningcureseverything.com.